Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Mark, a trainer here at WEX Field Service Management, and today we're covering price book basics. This webinar will cover a price book overview, price book setup, price book categories and pricing defaults, how to add warranties, job form preferences, how to add products to your price book, how to add products from your price book to your proposals and invoices, and then how to upload a price book if you already have one. We'll do a live Q&A at the end where you can get your questions answered live on stream. And without further ado, let's dive into WEX FSM. When you are thinking about your price book, I just want to give you a nice overview of where the price book is and how you're using it in context on your job forms. So in your system, you will build out your price book. You will have a couple of different options for price books in your system, but the main place you're going to use those are on your proposals and invoices. I am currently on an invoice right now, and if I scroll down and click add item in the product section, that will pull up my price book. Now we're going to build a price book from scratch together today. We'll do that in just a bit. I'll teach you the foundation of how to do that. But I always like to begin with the end in mind. And this is how a price book will look once you get done building it and using it in context. From price book is going to be your WEX FSM integrated price book. From flat rate price book, you will have, if you've signed up for the Profit Rhino flat rate pricing. If you don't have Profit Rhino, then you won't see this flat rate price book here. If you're syncing to QuickBooks, you will have your QuickBooks item list. So if you're used to using your item list in QuickBooks, you can absolutely use that here as well. We will come back to this, but once you have the items that you know you want, you will select them, add them to your job forms, and then you can use these to present, convert to invoice, and take payment. So that's just a quick overview of what it looks like from the invoice level. But now let's work on how to actually set up your price book before you get to this step, which would be, adding to your invoices. We recommend setting up your price book in the following order. First, you're going to want to set up your categories, your folder organization, then set your pricing defaults, then add any warranties that you offer, and then set your job preferences. So we're going to do those right now in that order. The first being setting your price book categories. So when you log into your system and you are ready to start building a price book from scratch, you're going to go first to more applications, price book, my price book categories. That will bring you to your categories page. Now we call these categories. I also like to think of them as digital file folders. And question here from Angie, we have, does Profit Rhino update the cost of parts automatically? I remember hearing something like that. Yes, so the cost will come in. Profit Rhino will update as things change and update in the industry, and those will enrich your pricing and cost in your WEX FSM system. Now, if you notice that there are a few items that the cost is, a little too high or a little too low. We do have editable part costs as well, which you can come in and manually update and then reset to defaults anytime you want to take on the Profit Rhino default pricing. Let me know if that answered your question. Perfect. So, first, setting up your categories. This is going to be the organization of your items. So, when you actually start creating items, they'll need a place to be saved into, and these are the folders. I have personally set up a general folder for general parts, service, bundles, and discounts, and then an installs folder with different install types, a brand folder, and so on. So you can come in and create any type of folders that you want. And this is set up in a main folder, subfolder scenario. Click Add Top Level Category to add a main folder. And if we come down, we should be able to see main folder is here. And if we want to add a subfolder, we click the red plus button next to the title and make a subfolder. So now, when I create items, I can select these folders and start to organize those items into these folders. This is important. This is when you're building this, think to yourself, how do I want my technicians to navigate through these folders? And main folders will show up first. When you click on them, you'll go into a subfolder. And this is completely up to you how you want to organize this. If you want to delete folders, simply click on the edit pencil and hit delete. And you do have to delete every item that's in a folder to delete the folder itself. And you have to delete all subfolders to delete a main folder. But this is categories, and this is what you want to set up first. Next, we will move to pricing defaults. So let's go to more applications, price book, pricing defaults. The pricing defaults are your standard price and then modifiers, which can either be discounts or increases in price. And let's just work our way through. So every item that you add and create in your price book will take on your standard price. And so if I'm creating parts, let's say, and I have a parts markup multiplier of 1.5, I will enter in that a part costs $100. It will take on the standard price, the markup, and I will charge my customer $150. So whatever your standard markup is, enter that here. For maintenance plan price, this is something that is built into your system. If you have a maintenance plan program and you offer a discount for your maintenance plan customers, you can enter that discount here. Right now, I have it set to 10% off. If a customer is not a maintenance plan customer, it will take on the standard price. If a customer is a maintenance plan customer in your system, it will automatically switch to the maintenance plan pricing so you don't have to think about it. It'll just give them that discount on items where you have maintenance plan pricing turned on. Then we have three modifiers, and these can be used to either put a discount, a minus percentage, or add. And so in this scenario, we've got a friends and family discount for 15% off, a military discount for 20% off, and then an after hours pricing increase. Maybe you have an emergency call that you need to go out to, you want to charge extra for it. We just added, so that is plus 25%. And that is for parts. We also have labor defaults here as well. So if I create a labor item, you will be able to see those defaults when creating that item. And so another question, can we edit the margin percent? Not here uh, for the default pricing. You can update by margin for Profit Rhino. It allows you to edit by margin, but not the WEX FSM price book. For this, you would set just a single percentage, and this is just the straight percentage. So, minus 10%, plus 10%, etc. You can update when we get into the actually making the parts. I'll show you the different things you can edit from that level. But from the pricing defaults page, the answer is no. Let me know if that answered. Okay, cool, cool. All right. Once you make changes here, click Save. So the reason why you want to set this up first or, second in the beginning before you create items is because right here it says in yellow, we have a big disclaimer box. Any changes made below to the pricing strategy default section will take effect when creating new products in the price book. Existing products in the price book will remain unchanged and will need to be updated manually. So that means if you come in and you set all of these pricing, you start adding items. Those items will take on that pricing that you set. But 6 months from now, you come in and you change the pricing. Let's say you need to increase your parts markup multiplier. Increase that, click Save. All of your previous and current price book items will not update. They will be whatever they were set when they were added. Any new items that you add will take on the new pricing that you set. However, if you want the new pricing to apply to all your previous items, that is a service request. You send that into customer care. So click on the Help Center in the bottom right, click Contact Support, and you just let them know, hey, I just, you know, updated my pricing defaults. I changed my maintenance plan discount from 10% to 15%. Please apply this to all of my price book. And that typically takes 1 to 2 business days, and you will see that then updated in your system. Otherwise, everything will maintain its historical record pricing from when it was added. Okay, so that is pricing defaults. Next is warranties. So we're going to go to more applications, price book, warranties. If you offer warranties, it is good to add those into your system. That way, if I am creating a new product in my price book and it has a warranty, I'll be able to click a drop down and select from my warranties that I have on this page. So it's nice to get these added and finished before you start adding items to your price book so they are selectable. To create a new warranty, you will click on Add New Warranty and then put in the name, the warranty length, the description, and click Save. You can have labor warranties and parts, manufacturer parts warranties. Next, let's take a look at job preferences. Now, this one's pretty important. Let's go to settings, jobs, job preferences. And really, this is personal preference. What do you want visible on your job forms? And when we say job forms, we mean proposals and invoices. And really, this is just a toggle on, toggle off visibility situation. Do you want your customers, when they look at an invoice, do you want them to see the location name, the model numbers, unit prices, maintenance plan savings, billing address name, product number, and line item amounts and quantities? Maybe you want them to see all of this, so you would toggle them all on, and then all of these items will be on every proposal and invoice you create. Maybe I don't want my customers to see the model numbers, however. I don't want them to go and look up and figure out pricing on their own and then come back to me. So I just have that turned off, and they'll see the price of the products and services that I want them to see without the model number. Once you have your personal preferences set, go down and click Save. And then those will reflect just as a default. If I want to add the model number back later, I can always add that in the moment. All right, so that is good to go here. And now our foundation is set. So we are going to now move to actually adding items to our price book. And to do this, you will go to More Applications, Price Book, My Price Book. And this is the main page that you will spend time on. Once you have your categories built, you got your pricing default set, you've got your warranties, the foundation is set. Now we're going to spend a lot of time entering in and detailing our price book items. As you can see, we've got our folders here on the side. These are the same folders from the categories page. Once we have items added, I can click the drop down here and it will show me all the items in that folder. But to add items, you will click Add Product in the top right and then select which product type. So there's 4 product types. Single part only is going to be your parts and equipment. Labor service only will be your labor. Product bundle multi-item group will allow you to take parts and labor items and put them together to create a bundle. And this comes in really handy if you want to make your own flat rate items. And then discount, these are dollar amount discounts. So the pricing defaults page had percentage discounts. This is really more like a coupon, minus $10, minus $20, etc. So let's see an example of building out a part. We will select single part only. From here, everything's pretty self-explanatory. You would fill out the name. Maybe this is general part 1. You can add a photo if you want, a product image. And then here is the categories. So we would have built out all our folders. Now, which folder do I want this general part to go into? Let's say the general parts folder. If you're syncing to QuickBooks, it will ask you which income account you want this to sync to. So as a general part, let's say my job income is good. Add a description. The product name and description will be visible by your customer. And now here's margin. I believe you were asking about this earlier. So I can add in a cost So let's say that this cost me $100. There's no way here to edit the margin, but you can edit the cost, you can edit the markup, and you can edit the standard price, and it will tell you what the margin is. So, if I wanted to update the margin, I could update the markup and just see where that margin lands. So there is some editing capabilities here, even though it's not from the margin percentage specifically. Okay. Any changes that I make here, however, will not update the main defaults that you have on your pricing defaults page. Determine whether or not you want tax. Do I want to charge taxes on this item? And then pricing strategies. This part's important to know. If you have it turned on, for a maintenance plan price, if you have this on, it will automatically apply maintenance plan pricing for any customer that's a maintenance plan customer, that's who's under contract in your system. If you have an item that you do not want that auto discount to apply, turn that off. Now, that one happens automatically. These others, you would need to manually select these pricings and, ask yourself, do I want to offer, do I want the ability to offer a friends and family discount, a military discount, or charge more for after hours for this product? And for my parts, most likely I'm going to keep these on. But for my labor, maybe I don't want to discount my labor. So I would want to turn these off. The biggest difference is if these are turned off, that just means it won't be available to add. If these are on, then these will be available, and your technicians could add these discounts if they wanted to. And then the biggest difference between all of these is that the maintenance plan price will happen automatically. It's not something you would select like you would with friends and family, military, and after hours. Okay. You can also click the heart icon in the top right to favorite this item. And if you go to the next tab over, additional details, this is where you can attach a warranty. Let's say I know that this is for an AC unit and it has a 10-year warranty. And you can serialize parts. So if I know that when I install this, there will be a serial number, I can turn on serialize and it will give me an extra field that I can add the serial number of the item I just installed. Once you're ready, you will click save to save that item. And then when you go to look for it, you'll be able to see those here. So we added a part. Now let's see an example of adding some labor. So I will click add product again, and we'll go down to labor or service only. And now everything here is pretty much the same. This is just going to be for labor. So let's say we're calling this general labor 1. We want this to be saved in our service folder. This is going to be our income labor. I do not want to discount my labor, so I'm going to turn these off. And now we have your labor rate, labor hours, the cost, markup, and standard price. Now, let's say that, this is going to be $150 for 1 hour of labor, like 1 being the quantity. If I wanted to charge for 3 hours of labor, on my proposals and invoices, I can just change the quantity in the moment from 1 to 3. And now that would represent 3 hours of labor. So when setting this up, typically you're thinking about this as an hourly price. When you're ready, click save, and that will then save your labor. Now let's see an example of making a product bundle. So we'll click Add Product and select Product Bundle Multi-Item Group. Now, the way that this works is you do need to have individual items first. So we can pull individual items that are already in our price book and add them to the bundle. Let's say I need a part, so I can just look for that general part we made, select the one I want. Let's go with the one for 200. Add as many parts as you want from searching and adding them like this. And when you have the parts you want, you will go and select your labor. Again, you can search for that, but let's do this labor here. So once you have your parts, you have your labor. Those are your bundle items. Click Create Product Bundle. Now we're creating a single product. Your customer will see a single product, but it's a bundle, so it will actually include multiple components. What's nice about bundles is that your customer will see, this is a general bundle. Maybe this is like a furnace install that includes a lot of different parts and labor, but you just want your customer to see the one price of the furnace install in total. So you can even name this bundle furnace install. And now, where do I want this to save? Maybe it's saved in the bundles. Add your description, update your pricing, set your strategies. And then your customer will just see one item with one price. But you on the back end will be able to see all the individual components that make up that bundle. When you're done, click Save, and those will save in the folder that you set. In this case, we put it in the Bundles section. Last but not least, we have dollar amount discounts. So let's click Add Product and select Discount. And really, this is, up to whatever you want to name this. Maybe you'd literally just have it as what the dollar amount discount is, like the $10 discount. I'm saving this in my discounts folder. We're going to have that go to our income job our job income account. And key thing here, make sure you hit minus. So minus $10. Now that will factor in as a dollar amount discount. Click Save. And when you're done, you'll be able to see those saved wherever you put them in whichever folder you set. All right, so that is a basic overview of adding items into your price book. But now, how does this actually work in context? Once I add my items, I build my price book, I have my folders nice and organized. My technicians are going to know exactly where to go to get the items they need. How does that actually happen? So, to do this, I have created a invoice. So whether you're creating an invoice through an appointment, your technician makes an invoice, this will work also for proposals. But once you create that job form, in this case, an invoice, you will scroll down to the product section. Let's go ahead and get rid of these. And you'll see right there, there's no items. We want to add items from our price book, so we're going to click Add Item. And now we're back to where we started, which is here is the WEX FSM price book, which would have the items that we built out from flat rate price book. Again, that will be the Profit Rhino flat rate pricing if you have that add-on, and then your QuickBooks item list. Now, these are individual buckets of pricing. So I can search for items. Let's just say we want to look for that general part. I just type the word. I see anything with the word general or part in it will pull up. And then from here, let's just select general part 3. And it puts it in a queue. Think of this maybe like a shopping cart. We're adding this to our cart. But I need more items. So I'm going to go and look for labor. Now, I could just type in labor here or the labor that I'm looking for in the search, but another way you can find items is through actually looking at the folders. So right here, price book folders, click on that. And now we have our nice clean folder organization. So I need a general service for labor. So I'm going to go to general service. And now what, labor do I want? Let's say we'll do the residential labor. So now I can see I have 2 items added. And then I know that I want to sell a filter, but I haven't talked to the customer yet about it. But I do want to add it as like a recommendation. Add it here. So let's go back to home. We'll go to the search and I want a filter. I was on location. I'm looking at their filter. It's got leaves and dirt in it. We need to replace this filter, but I need to sell my customer on that idea before I do that work. So we're going to add the filter, but then we're going to move it to a recommended section. So for this, let's just say it's a Honeywell filter and add. So now you can see I have 3 items in my queue. Now we're ready to add these items to the price book. So we'll just tap add 3 items. So now I've got my part, I've got my labor, and I have my recommended item, but I don't want to charge my customer for this just yet. I want to ask them first. I want to present this to them. So to put this into recommended section, hover over the, or really you just click on the arrow next to the name, and that will move it down to a recommended section. When you're showing this to the customer, you would say something like, for today's service, it's $222.98, but I did notice that your filter could use a replacement. That would be $16.20, and we could get that done for you today. How does that sound? If they say yes, you just click the thumbs up icon, and that will then add it to the product section. And your new total is $240.34. So we've got those items added here. All right. Next, after you've added your items, they become unique for this job form only. So you can click on the title, update the name, update the description, the pricing, whatever you need. And if if it has been serialized, which this part is, here it is. Here's the serial number. You can just add that right into here. When you update this, it will update for this job form, but it will not update in the main price book. So it maintains your historical record of pricing there. Okay, so now we have added our price book items. Another question, when would we use QuickBooks item list? So the QuickBooks item list, it is kind of a personal preference. So for some customers, they have a big, extensive QuickBooks item list that they've been using for 20 years. Everybody on the team knows and has model numbers memorized, and that's just like the pricing that you want to use. You could technically just use your QuickBooks item list without needing to use the WEX FSM price book. However, if you are doing that, there's no folder organization. There's not a lot of organization. There's no way to look through price book items in folders. So you would need to know the exact names of things to pull from this list. The only place that you can see and view and manage the QuickBooks item list items are right here on the invoice. So a benefit of using the WEX FSM price book instead would be more organization. You can create folders. You can have a view like this. And so it's really personal preference. If you want to use the item list on its own, that's great. Just know the limitation there would be you have to search for the items. You can't look through folders. Let me know if that answered your question. All right, perfect. Okay. And so once you have your items added, you can continue forward as you normally would. You can take payment. So for today's example, let's just record payment. And we already have the invoice selected. So we're just going to choose our payment method. Let's say they paid with a check today and record payment. And there we go. So now we have officially added items to our, well, I guess just a recap, we created our categories. We created our pricing defaults. We created our warranties. And then we built out price book items. Went and created an invoice, added items from the price book to the invoice, and then took payment. Now, your customer will have this receipt and you'll have this for your records, a paid invoice with the items we pulled from our price book. All right. And the last topic we're going to do before we get into our Q&A is a time saver if you have any pricing items already saved in an Excel file. So let's say that you already have a price book. You have the part numbers, the names, the descriptions, the cost, the markup, what income account you want it to sync to. You have all the info already in an Excel file. You can submit that to our data team and they will load that information for you. So to do this, go to More Applications, Data Center. When you click on Data Center, you'll get a little pop-up on the side from the Help Center. And then you just kind of read what it says. It is possible, let's see, so onboard customer data, I have data to load. So someone has changed this as as a disclaimer. This account that I'm working in is a test account, and I'm not the only one who uses it. So it looks like someone is messing with this right now. What should happen for you is it would have an option to upload a price book, and you select the option. I want to upload a price book. Then it will ask, do you want to upload a file that you already have? It does need to be an Excel file. Or do you want us to give you a template? And so you could choose that. It'll allow you to download an Excel file that you can then fill out and just make sure that you have all the information that our dev team needs. And then when you submit that, it goes to the product team, or sorry, it goes to the data team, and they are able to load that into your system. And after that's loaded, you'll be able to go to your price book and see all of those loaded items. And that can be a huge time saver uh, if you don't feel like coming in and manually adding everything one by one, if you already have that pricing in an Excel file somewhere else. If you have any questions at all after today's presentation, you can always go to the Help Center and go to FSM Customer Support. All right. That is all the information we have for today's presentation. I hope that you learned something. We're going to move to our Q&A now, but before we do, I just want to say thank you so much for joining. My name is Mark with WEX Field Service Management, and this has been Pricebook Basics.